Hello, my friends, and welcome back. It seems like the West is barely holding the line, if you know what I mean, against Russia, with the sanctions, with even their political cohesion starts to come unraveled. And you can see cracks everywhere. And it seems like uh, blackmail and threats within the big club, it's not enough to keep these guys in line. And what I'm talking about, you have examples, economic examples, as Bulgaria, Hungary in the first place, even Slovakia, um, Czech Republic, talking about they will not agree with an embargo, EU embargo on Russian oil. They said flat out, at least Hungary said, we will veto such a measure if it comes to voting, if you know what I mean. And you have political disagreement as well. And some countries in Europe did not say anything about the war, did not condemn Russia hard enough. They do not provide aid. That would be Hungary for one. And now we have president of France, which is one of the uh, house servants in the club. So it's not a bottom feeder like most of the member countries in the club. You know, you have United States and you have the house servants would be, or slaves would be, Great Britain and France. And then you have the bottom feeders, which is everybody else in Europe. Even Italy tries to play a role, but it's still there. And Germany definitely is at the bottom with the plantation slaves outside working in the sun. And France tried to keep itself in the house, and Britain is in the house with a master. So it seems like France wants to, it has its own political ideas and foreign policy, and they first, I think that even if I disagree with many of Mr. Macron's, the president of France's ideology and push for certain things, policies. I think he's a very intelligent guy, and he's a very good politician, and he's very diplomatic. I like him on that side. I would like to have him on my side, if you know what I mean. I think he's a weasel, like most politicians. I think so, but that's a different story. It's not about being a weasel. Now he's trying to make his own arrangements aside around bypassing the back big master and the other um, house servant. We have this article from Politico, and this came, I think, yesterday or 2 days before, or a day before. This is from May 13th, which is yesterday, and this is um, this is a an article that I was should I discuss it, but now I see it's coming more and more. It seems like it's a big problem. Now, this is what Zelensky made some statements during an interview, and it seems like he said more than he had to, or maybe he doesn't give any more, or his master said, "Go ahead, throw France, in this case Macron, in the fire." So this is it, Zelensky, and I'm quoting: Macron asked Ukraine to make concessions to help Putin save face. All right, so here it says what Ukrainian president says. We won't help Putin save face by paying with our territory. That's definitely that's a statement, or normal statement coming from a leader. So I'm 100% with Zelensky here, or President Zelensky. And we have here that uh, French President Emmanuel Macron asked Ukraine to make concessions on its sovereignty to help Russian leader Vladimir Putin save face, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said. In an interview with Italian TV channel Rai, Porta a Porta, talk show broadcast Thursday evening, Zelensky was asked about Macron's comments on Monday, in which he warned Europe must avoid humiliating Putin. Yeah, I think so, because it's going to be like a wounded rat, and a wounded rat will jump on a cat, okay, to defend himself. Uh, Sorry for the analogy. Forget about Putin being a rat or something, the other one being a cat. It's just the analogy, you know what I mean. So we want the Russian army to leave our land. We aren't on Russian soil. That's correct, Zelensky replied, I would say. We won't help Putin save face by paying with our territory. That would be unjust. Correct. Zelensky added that Ukraine would never recognize um, Russia's army, Russia's annexation of Crimea. So they will never do that. Well, Crimea, Mr. Zelensky, it's a very, very tricky thing because if you look at where Crimea was, who gave it to whom, who got possession, and it's complicated. It's not really, as you think that it's so clear, because if now or in the past 20 years it was on your or during the Soviet era was maybe incorporated, let's put it this way, in Ukraine, it doesn't mean that's the way it was or it belonged. It's like there's many territorial disputes in Europe among countries, and you go back and forth. Well, I had this territory from 1735 until 1890, so it's my territory. And the other side said, no, 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 this was my territory from 15,000 to 15,029, so I was first. And then you have another guy involved. No, no, it was my territory because, in year 23, it was my people, my ancestors who owned that territory. So how far do you go? The first ones? So that's why it's tricky. But Zelensky, yeah, is talking about certain things, but you have to go all the way if you want to talk about things. So he says Macron was looking in vain for a way out for Russia, Zelensky said. Well, maybe not. I don't think that's what he wanted. He just wants to open a point of conversation like, hey, you're not going to win this war. You're not going to get it back. I'm assuming, okay, you're not going to get everything that you lost. How do you think you're going to get it back? Those guys eventually, or not eventually, in reality, they have atomic bombs. So how do you think they're going to lose? What's losing for them? The only losing for them is the head of the Russian government be somehow expunged and replaced with people that would be very, very, very on your side, like your people. That would be the only way. Otherwise, Russians will not let you conquer and come back and get those territories. That will look awful for Russia. Do you think they will agree that? No, they're going to threat, and might use certain weapons. That's why I say that Russia cannot lose. What do you think? The Russians will say, okay, we lost, guy. We had a good run. Now we go home back to our farming, right? No, that's not going to happen. It says here, in a speech at the closing ceremony of the Conference of the Future of Europe on Monday, Macron said Europe must, and I'm quoting, never give in to the temptation of humiliation nor the spirit of revenge when it comes to Russia's war on Ukraine. This is added, when it comes to Russia's war. And the quotes ended after the revenge. So if that's, and the French president also said, and I'm quoting, when peace returns to European soil, we will need to build new security balances, end quote. The reference has been read as an indication that Macron was still seeking to reach a compromise with Putin. You think? What are you going to do? You think you're going to go and roll over Moscow? Let's put reality, not reality, this before this. What do you expect? What do you expect? The Russians to go back? Do you think they're going to say, yeah, we lost, as I said before? No, that's not going to happen. So what are you going to do? You can't say, yeah, okay, we lost. That's, again, they can't, because the guys behind you will not let you do that, even if you want. Even if you want to get in a treaty with the Russians and the so-called, whatever you want to call them, independent new republics. These guys will not let you. It's against their interest, just so you know. So you are in between and you are supported by them. If they pull the plug, you have to make peace in 3 minutes with Russians. And I'm sorry, but Ukraine should have implemented the Minsk agreements, and that would have helped a lot. Maybe even avoid if that would have been implemented, things might not be reached this point. I have a big not believe, because it's not based on my imagination or something. I think that would have been the case. But you never know now, because we are in the middle of this, and the point is, how do we get out of this? It's not, oh, it's your fault, your fault. Yeah, when it's about to point down fingers, first think, how would you solve it? What would be the result? Talk, communicate, negotiate, and so on. or go and kill one another and see where that gets you. Thank you for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.